Here is the Banks Derringer. A lot of you guys have been asking me about this guy, and today is the day. We're gonna go ahead and install it, and then soon after I will be doing some videos for the performance. Now I've already done a video with my truck for 0 to 60 with just my boost tubes and my turbo inlet. Then I got some footage with just the Banks ram air, and then we're gonna do one with the Derringer. Now obviously there's like 6 levels I believe there is to this guy here, and yeah, let's go ahead and unbox it. Now let's go ahead and get this question out the way because I know someone's gonna ask it in the comment section. Is this warranty safe? The answer is
yes.
And the reason why is because this does not leave a footprint, but you do have to follow Banks instructions. That way you don't have people trying to void your warranty. So again, the reality to this tuner is it's not going to really affect anything on the truck. It doesn't leave a footprint. And the way that this tuner works is probably the only reason why I'm even installing this. I'm not a big fan of tuners because the people who put out tuners typically are just trying to make money. This tuner is all about performance with reliability stamped next to it. And that's what I like about this. And I'll show that to you right here. Look at what they say online about the transmission. I know a lot of people are going to talk about this weak-ass transmission from GM, the 10-speed stamp-approved Allison. Yes, this transmission is weak, but the way that they set this tune up, it should not affect any type of drivability with the transmission. If anything, it might even get better for the transmission. So that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and unbox this Derringer, and then let's quickly try to install this. But before we do that, here's what we're gonna do. I gotta disconnect the battery, so while we're waiting here, we'll just go ahead and disconnect this right here. I believe this is, I don't remember, I think it's a 10, and we'll disconnect this one. I'll give you guys the right sockets for these. On the passenger side, it's a 10, and this works the best. And then on the driver's side here, this is a 1/2, this right here. And yeah, you're pretty much done. So if you're concerned about the difficulty of this install, here's what I'll tell you. The hardest plug to get to in this install is the injector one. So if you can't get that plug out, I would just say let someone else do this for you. But if you can get that plug undone, we'll do it together. I'll see what tools I need. I'll use basic tools. I don't have anything special anyway, so yeah, so this should be easy for anyone to do. But if I can get it out of there, I'm pretty sure you can too. But yeah, I will try my best. Maybe I'll have my wife come out and I'll try to see if we can film this the best way we can, and at the very least I'll explain it to you. But if you can't get that plug out, then this install probably won't happen for you. But if you get that one done, the rest is so easy. And then all you gotta do is just run the, I think it's a starter wire through that way, and that's easy too. And yeah, I'll show you all that stuff. And honestly, like if you want a more in-depth look at this too, Banks has a great video as well. I got it out. So this is not easy. So it took me about 20 minutes. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. It took me 20 minutes to get this plug out. And yeah, again, nothing wrong with letting someone do this for you. I think that it's more time consuming to get the right tools. So all I used was a Phillips head and a flathead, that's it. So I use a longer one to push up on the tab and pull back that red lever, which I'll show it to you guys here. And I try to have my wife hold the camera for me on this ladder, and it's impossible to show you what I'm doing. Yeah, but this is not easy. It took me about 20-25 minutes to get that plug out. But if you can get this plug out, the rest of this install is pretty dang easy. Yes. Are you guys ready? Here it is. This is a Derringer, and then this is your iDash Pro. And then here's all the wiring. And then this is the big boy wire harness that we're going to use. So this does have all the labels, so map sensor, fuel rail pressure right there, and then there's a map for the intake. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's just go ahead and lay this out, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. Alright, so you guys will see here, because I do have the Banks cold air intake, I do have the controller. So you just have to plug the harness into the controller, and then you'll plug the harness into the factory mass airflow. Make sure everything's locked into, and I'll have to use some zip ties to tie this all back down too. And then let's go ahead and move on to the map sensor right here. So here's the map, and like I said, the harness just plugs into the new plug right here, and then this side plugs into the map sensor. Now let's go ahead and move over to the fuel rail, which is this plug right in the center there. Alright, so this is the plug here. When you slide this tab back, you have to push down pretty hard for this one. I didn't mention this earlier, but I did wash out my engine bay just a little bit. I used a little bit of degreaser, and the reason why I did that is because sometimes when these plugs have dirt in them, they're just twice as hard to get in. I did use some compressed air to blow out most of the water too. So this is something that might help these plugs come open a little bit better if you have an older truck, especially when dirt gets in here. So just keep that in mind. So that's all done, and again, you're just using the wire harness to plug into the sensor and then plugging into the harness on the truck. Now lastly, we do have to plug into this plug down here. Let me move my light over here real quickly. Hold on one second. So here's the injector plug. So all you have to do is plug this guy into the plug that you unplugged, and then this one goes into the sensor for that injector. So getting this plug in here is a beast. You will need to hear a clicking sound when it goes in, so just have a long Phillips head or even a flathead is fine. And once you hear that click, you can slide the red tab over, and now it's locked in. So one rule of it, that sucks. Oh no, okay, I can see it. But yeah, one word of advice is plug into the fuel rail sensor first, and then plug into the existing plug with the harness. I did not check in the box to see if Banks supplied any zip ties. They normally do for some things, but I have these 14-inch zip ties and I have 8-inch. So for the controller, for the cold air intake, look what I did there. I just used an 8-inch right there. Right here, this is the fuel rail and the map sensor. All I did was just use the 14-inch. You can probably see how long it is. I gotta cut that down obviously. So the 14-inch got all those plugs, and all I did was just neatly run everything over to the other side. You can see the plug right there. So it's nice and neat. Just take your time, not hard to do. And then on this side, I just rolled everything up, and then there's the Derringer right there. Now my termination cap was already installed, but let me just be honest, I can't lie, because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake I did. I did break that injector plug. I did. So the little tab you're supposed to push up on, I thought I was supposed to hear a clicking sound, but I pushed so hard I broke it, because I thought I would hear a click. And nope. So when you have to slide back the red piece, and I'll show it to you here, all you have to do is just push up slightly and then pull that back. I didn't know that. I thought that you were going to hear like a clicking sound. So you're not going to hear a clicking sound. And I'll just cut that wire, splice it, and put a new plug in there at some point. It's not a big deal really, but regardless of that, here's what I'll tell you. If you cannot get that plug undone, this might not be something you can do. Now, if you could find a master tech at a dealer that might come outside for 20 minutes on his lunch break to see if he can pop that plug open for you, because again, if you can get that plug out the rest of this is pretty easy. Now it is hard to get the wire harness plug in there, so you might have to give yourself some slack, push that plug in, and then you'll be pretty much halfway done at that point. And apart from that, the Derringer is pretty much done. My termination cap is already on there, and all I have to do is just run the starter cable. Now I already have the PedalMonster in there, so I'm not going to show you guys how to plug all this in. It's pretty easy to do from here. I will show you how to run the starter cable, and we just have to plug it in on the back of it, run the wire through. It's really easy stuff at this point. And then I won't have much light back here, but all you have to do is just take all the paneling off here. That's better. But yeah, all you have to do is take all this paneling off here, take all this off down below, and then you'll run the cord right through here, which I'll show you guys. And there's actually like a little dust cap that we have to take off. I don't see one actually. Somewhere in there, we'll find it. But yeah, we'll have to take off a dust cap, and then all we'll have to do next is just run the wire through. That's it. So here we go. I have the plug running through here. You guys see which way I went to? I didn't want to jump over this side, right? Because then you'll have a wire exposed right there. So I just went right through, right there. You see that little line right there? I just went right through that line, and we're pretty much in business. It looks like a nice clean install, and I'll show you guys on the other side where it's going to come out at. So I got all the trimming up here. You just have to start from the back and just move your way up here. And I have the starter cable through. So it's going to be high up, and then you just have to drop it down. Now there is a cap. It's a rubber cap. It's down low right there. I don't know if you guys can even see it, but it's pretty much right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and show you guys what it looks like. So here it is. And all you have to do is use this guy here. Don't use anything sharp, obviously, because you could scratch the paint, obviously. So, and I have a razor. We just got to cut a hole in this. That way we can run this cable through. And we are pretty much done. And I'll end the video there. All right, there it is. What I gotta do now is just put this cap back in. This is rubber, by the way, too. So pretty easy to cut and form it to where you need it to be at, and it goes in perfectly. So hope this was helpful. Again, I think that if you are like me, I do pretty basic maintenance on my cars. I can do a lot of stuff with hand tools, but it's not hard to do this yourself. I just think that figure 2 hours. I would set aside 2 hours. I know it's not going to take that long, but that way you don't have no reason to rush. That way you don't mess up anything. I'm gonna go ahead and end off the video because people are shooting off fireworks. Tomorrow's 4th of July, so I'm not sure when I'm gonna post this video, probably next week maybe. And then soon after that, we are going to do some tests on this truck. I already have some footage of the truck without the cold air intake, and then I have one with the cold air intake, and then we'll do one with the Derringer too. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you would like to purchase any of these Banks upgrades, I do have a promo code down below, get you a nice discount, and yeah, we'll see how this performs on the truck. Cannot wait. One last thing, I don't know if the 2024s are just slightly different, but getting this cable through will be a little tough, because when you cut the hole for the rubber piece, when you go in, you have to go up. So because there's not a lot of space here, let me see if I can give you some light so you can see. It's not a lot of space in here, and I'm actually shocked how I got this in, but you can't even see where the plug is, really. But it's just not a lot of space. But when you run the cable up this way, you can catch it with your fingers. There's like a little passageway in here, and as you run the cable up, and it has to go up as much as you can get it to, because this part of the cable is soft, but this part of it is hard, so you can kind of control it as you go up with it like this. And as it goes up, you just have to have your hand over here so you can kind of reach for it and then pull it through. But I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. That's the only part of this installation that's a little tough. And I will admit, give yourself 2 hours. 2 hours will not put you in a panic mode if you, for any reason, that you have to drive your truck. So 2 hours is good for this install. And once you're done, you're gonna enjoy the power. I can't wait. So yeah, the hard parts are done. This was the hard part. And then of course, as I said, that injector part. That's it. Everything else is easy. Later.